Hello, everybody. Speaking of 420 here, because everything I do is so 420, including once again forgetting my cigarette lighter, which is why I had a 2 second delay on me here and not there. Anyway, good to see everybody. Hope everybody's been doing well and keeping busy. I know that's been some good advice for me. One thing I will say in dealing with grief, the best thing for it is to keep busy, without a doubt. Love and support helps, but in the simplest, um, in the simplest of terms, when we do the most damage up here, folks. That's just the easiest way to say it. We do the most damage up here. So if you have a task set before you, then you're not up here. If you have a mundane task set before you and it's just your normal everyday stuff, like maybe brushing your teeth, doing the dishes, whatever, you stay in here. Okay, what I'm talking about is change of pace, doing something different, and keep them busy. So I've been trying to do that. I'm trying to get back on the horse, if you will. I definitely feel like um, that I have fallen down, but not out. I will, until my dying breath, I will always prevail, and that's just simple logic, folks. Because if you're living, then you're prevailing. Okay, I know a lot of folks think that you have to be, in order to prevail, you must be making tons of money, and you must have lots of notoriety of some kind, right? Power of some kind. That's not the truth. All right. If you're waking up every day and existing, then you're winning the battle because you're still here. And with every day that you have here, you have a day that you can do better. You have a day you could change for the better. It's up to us individually not to waste our days, right? By the way, I don't have coffee tonight. Sorry, I just didn't have the time. I've already had 3 cups this size of coffee tonight, so it just did, or today I should say. So it didn't feel. I didn't feel like my body needed that much more coffee. Just water for the rest of the night. After this, I got to go to Wally World and pick up a couple things. So only going to be on a short time. But I wanted to touch base with everybody. I know it's been probably a week and a half since I've been on. So for those who know me well, know that know what I'm going through, and for those others that don't know me quite as well, it's just time to get on here and let you know that hey, I'm okay. I'm just dealing with some shit, and I truly try to believe. Let me back up. I 100% believe, and I truly try to practice. If I have nothing nice to say, then say nothing at all. It's not always easy in this world, by the way. And one of the things that I will say, just right off the bat on that subject, when I do bend the rules, and the rule that I'll bend is I'll still say something negative, but I find a positive twist on it, right? I can't think of a for instance right now. Usually lately I want to bitch about drivers. They're just the worst. But you know what? I will say the one half glass full aspect of it that I look at after it happens is I thank God that I'm not dumb enough or asshole enough to do some of the things that people are doing out there. And you have to be one or the other. It's either dense or douche, ass or affliction. I say that because to do some of the things that I see people do driving on the road, there's one of two things: they're either extremely angry or they really have no brain, right? And if they're angry, that's usually because they're asshole. I'm one of the angry ones, so I will not sit here and say that I do not occasionally lose my cool. Is the easiest way to say it. Raise your hand if you've been known to lose your cool. So I never say these things as if I am not guilty myself. I'm absolutely guilty of road rage and have paid the consequence a couple of times, not legally, mind you. Thank you, Lord. But I've made a couple of mistakes on the way, uh, due to my own anger being on the road, and it's never good. I will say that. It's funny because lately, during this depression, let's say before Sky, okay, let's just take it back. 16 months ago, everything was fine. I did not have the type of road rage that I have now. I can tell you that. I would get on the road, it didn't bother me. A few key differences in that time, mind you, is one, my wife was not working and I was working from home, supporting us completely on my salary. So I didn't have to get out there and drive a whole lot. And when I did, it was almost always purely weekend driving. So weekend driving for me is leisure driving. So I'm a little more, I would say a lot more lenient during the weekend driving, that there's going to be more people out who don't have an agenda. They're just out driving on a Saturday or Sunday, right? So I tend to let things go a little bit more on the weekend. However, that was, what's the word I'm looking for? That was post Sky. That was post losing my job. That was post my wife having a job. My wife having a job did not cause a depression, but the other two things have definitely contributed to me being highly depressed. So now when I go out there, my wife getting a job is what's increased my driving almost every day, right? And sometimes I'm out there at 10 in the morning, noon, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, midnight, 1 o'clock, right? She works for a motel or hotel, excuse me, in the restaurant portion and banquets department, right? And all I can tell you is it's not easy when you're trying to get your wife to work and somebody out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday has decided that it is time to go 35 in a 50. I don't believe that you have consideration for the rest of us. At 3 o'clock on a Friday, 2 o'clock, whatever the fuck I said, on a Friday afternoon, I'm pretty sure I said 3, but regardless, on a Friday afternoon at that time, that is what's called rush hour. We're trying to go as quickly as we possibly can, all of us, because there's a ton of people that are about to be on the road, and it's just going to get thicker and nastier with every 15 minutes, all the way up to 6 o'clock, and then it'll start to die down, right? These are the rules, and they've been that way for a long, long time. So it blows me away because there's no rhyme or reason. I have seen elderly, senior, middle-aged, young, all the way down to kids, babies driving and doing the same thing. Like, I remember at 16, man, I drove as fast as I could all the time, obnoxiously so. So again, where's the good out of this? Well, the good is that with each new, what's the word? It's not issue, interruption, right? Or show of ignorance, show of selfishness and greed, which is what you see on the road, right? One of the things that I say is it feels like the most of the drivers, well over 99% of them, are on the road with only their concern for them, their safety, and getting to where they go. It's not a defensive driving world, folks. Wife, if you're watching, that lighter that you gave me just died. That was it. I got this lit. There we go. So the positive spin on it, if you will, is truly, I feel better. Like, and what I mean by that is I come back and look at it and go, okay, you know what? And this one's just an old school turn, twist, spin, whatever you want to call it. At least I'm not like them. at least I'm trying to be different and trying to care about drivers, not only in front of me, but behind me, to the right, to the left, right? I'm trying to care about them because I have learned that I love everybody. That means everybody's matters. If everybody's special, then everybody's life is just as important as mine. And if it's gone, it's going to hurt somebody, right? If it's taken from them. So all I can say is that the quickest and easiest spin is gratitude and grateful. You know, it's grateful for this and gives me gratitude for these different things. You know, what I've been dealing with is trying to come back out of that, you know, full circle. When you're depressed and you stand in one place or sit in one place, for those of you who are sitters, but you stand in one place and maybe watch TV or do whatever, and you just don't really move all day, and then the only thing you do is get on the road. Well, you're going to get highly aggressive, most likely, because you are. This is assuming that you're depressed because you're not doing anything, so you haven't been spending your time wisely, per se, right? You have not been getting your mind off of things by staying active. So your only activity comes out right when you're driving. Well, then you're going to be really fucking pissed. That's what happens to me. I know it. I'm not the only one. You're not releasing aggression. You're only feeling depressed. So then you get out on the road, somebody does anything, and the next thing you know, you're livid. You know, I'm livid. So I hope you can admit it. You'll feel better if you do. I love telling stories, and I haven't told a story in a while, so I'll tell the story and then I'll let y'all go. My positive spin on it, you may not agree with, but then again, you may. So I dropped my wife off today at work. I'm coming home on a road that is 3 lanes wide on each side, right? So a 6-lane road. It's not a highway, but in today's world, it might as well be a highway. It's a 45-mile-an-hour zone where the common person's doing like 60 miles an hour. The average speed on there is at least 55. No bullshit. Okay. I enter the road from it actually has like a entrance to it, right? And that lane becomes the 3rd lane when you enter it. It's 2 lanes where it dead ends. And then on one way, the 3rd lane goes off to this road. And on the other way, the 3rd lane is made of this entrance, right? So I got on, I moved over politely into the middle lane, and I'm driving up. And the first thing that happens, all right, you're going to love this. First thing that happens is a big ass truck pulls out into directly the middle lane. Doesn't pull out into the right-hand lane, which is the rules. By the way, where this guy pulled out actually has a merge lane. So technically there's 4 lanes here of traffic. I'm in the 3rd one over. He pulls out into the middle lane, right? Gets in front of me and proceeds to go to the stop sign where there's a car, him, and then an empty lane. So I move over into the empty lane and he had stopped, but it turns green. So I proceed to accelerate and go by him sitting still at around 35 miles an hour. Now, if you go by somebody at 35 miles an hour who's not sitting still, that seems pretty fucking fast. Okay. And technically, I by the time I got through the intersection, I was probably already doing 45. No bullshit. I'm a fast driver and I'm not denying it. Here's where it also gets good. The light turned green at an intersection where somebody had just turned left onto the road in front of me, right? Now, remember, I'm in the right-hand lane and I zoom by. I get the green light. I zoom by. I'm now cooking up. They had turned and they are in the middle lane. They move over just barely in time for me to actually move. They move over in front of me into the right-hand lane. There's no way, folks, that they were looking in the back. There's no way. So I literally move over into the right lane, honk my horn as I'm going by because I had to make aggressive and I had to make evasive measures to avoid an accident. Okay. I don't know if you remember, but Truck Douche, who I never beeped at, I never said a thing to, I never flipped him off, nothing like that. Nothing, is watching all this and decides that I'm the asshole, right? So I'm now in the right lane. I start to speed up. I see him. He is now barreling down. I mean, barreling down. So I go ahead and move over to the left lane. Yes, it is the fastest, but it's where I can move over safely, right? Because I'm this is all happening. I can't express to you how fast this is all happening, but I'm in the midst of passing that car, honking my horn and giving them a sign of affection, I might add. So as I'm giving them a sign of affection, I go ahead and move over into the left-hand lane. This truck comes barreling up, flipping me off, and does one of these aggressive, like he passes me, but before he's even done passing me, he gets over into the lane just to be a dick, right? Well, he got me. I'm hooked. I'm a fucking bass on the hook, and I am going to have it out with this guy, and I fucking go into road rage mode. I'm not denying my issues, okay? I get up beside him now. I get back over it because he's now in the left lane in front of me. I get into the right lane. I speed up. I get beside him. I roll the window down. He's like laughing. Ha ha ha. He's telling me these just the stupidest things like, I can't wait till you da 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 da. And I have it all in footage. Like I have a dash cam in there that gets front and back. It shows all of this. I never even did more than 10 miles over. And don't get me wrong, I know that that's technically speeding, but on this road, just to give you an idea how fast this road is, I do 55 past cops all the time, and they don't pull us over. It's not just me. It is the common speed for this road. I never even got past 55 until this dude passed me. Like I was sitting still at 50 miles an hour and being all aggressive and you know, literally pushed me in my own lane just to be a dick, like just to be a dick. So we get to the light. He's turning left and I'm at the light about to go straight. And he's just running his mouth. He's talking about, hey, babe, how you doing? I see some people in here. What's up, Beast? Nice to see you, brother. How are you doing? Don, I love you, boo. So he is already in the wrong. He has, I never broke speed. I never did anything wrong. I truly didn't. These people, one of the most common things I see around here when I say bad drivers is only what is in front of them matters. It's not what's behind them. They will pull out, pull in front of you when you're doing 50 and they're only doing 20. I swear to God, that is wrong. I don't care if they think it is. When you do that and pull out in front of me doing 20 and I'm doing 50 and I barrel around you, I am barreling around you so that I do not fucking slam into you. And when the speed limit is 45, I have every right. Right? So I'm pretty livid. This guy's just running his mouth. By no coincidence, I love how God hands us things. I have to deposit a check and I've got to go to the Walgreens for prescriptions for my mom and myself. So I decide to let it be known that I'm going to follow him because, oh, by the way, this guy's driving a truck, which is just typical for this behavior. And it is a fucking exhaust. It's just puffing out fucking black smoke and it's not a diesel. Maybe it was, but either way, it's just puffing out this black shit. Oh, dude, the two biggest things people don't look at, number one by fucking leaps and bounds is they're on their phone. People on the interstate I see doing this. They're driving, they got their hand on the wheel and they're looking down on the phone. You know, maybe I'm an old fogey, I guess, because came in like cell phones became a part of life when, you know, they weren't before. Like I remember a time when they weren't. So we didn't have that distraction, right? And the biggest distraction, by the way, back then was men and women both getting ready, combing their hair, putting on makeup, putting on cologne, brushing their teeth. These were the things that they would do while they drive. I'm not making that up. My stepmother, when I was 8, or excuse me, well, she wasn't my stepmother at the time, This is partly how she became my stepmother. I rode with her to school starting at 8 years old, right? Or maybe 7. No, 8. While she was driving myself, her daughter, who was 6 months younger than me, and her other daughter, who was maybe 6 months to a year old, this woman, while driving 45, 50 miles an hour, would apply makeup with her visor pulled down, doing it in the mirror and apply makeup. I still wonder now how we didn't fucking die and get into a wreck back then. And this is, folks, we're talking 1980, okay? So now all these same people, men and women, I'm not excluding either one. I will say both my wife and I firmly agree that there are more bad women drivers. 2 simple reasons. One, there's more women drivers, which naturally means there's going to be more bad women drivers. And 2, by sheer clocking it. And what I mean by that is, as it happens going ching, 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 it's 3/4 of the time it's a woman. When I pass them, when they go unknown, I don't count that. But when I can see their gender, then I clock it. And I'm telling you, three out of 4 is female. So I go with, and my wife agrees. She's been right there with me for 17 years now. So now people are on their phones. Some of them, I mean, dude, what I don't get is these people that go out of their way, because if you buy stuff standard, then it doesn't allow you to stream video. But these people will go out of their way to put screens in the front of their car so they can fucking watch movies. You do not need to be watching a TV show, a snippet, a YouTube, or any fucking thing while you're driving. That's why we don't have fucking video radio. It's already bad enough that it is one distraction of one of your major senses, right? You have 5 senses and sound is already being taken away. And I say that's already an issue because I play my stereo loud. I do not hear sirens. I constantly look and try to make myself aware, but that's my downfall, right? No one should be able to drive until they learn defensive driving. Everyone, yep. Oh yeah, dude. There's no scare. There's no skill and there's no care. I don't mean to be rude, but if you go out there and drive and start to look at the ones that are fucking up, see if it's men or women. Start to take note of it and come to your own conclusion. Mine is just an opinion, therefore it stinks, and everybody thinks mine stinks except me. I think it smells good. Period. So, onward, Christian soldiers. Regardless of whether it's men or women, it is a multitude of not caring, not paying attention. I am the only one on the road when there's more drivers than ever before, right? So this guy, he has pissed off somebody who really notices these things, and I'm irked. So I pull in behind him. I quickly go and get my drugs, quickly make my deposit. And I just knew God delivers these things. This was one where I was totally right. Okay. He fucking ran his mouth off talking, fuck you, flipping me off, all this shit, right? So as I'm leaving the shopping center, I look really good, really hard, and I see his truck. Now, if you think that things are coincidental, I feel for you, but he's parked into a spot, and the spot right in front of it is empty. So I pull right in. As I pull in, this motherfucker is walking out. He gets into his truck. He shuts the door and he looks forward and he's staring at me. And I'm like, what do you want to say now? What are you going to say? I'm speaking the words to him. What are you going to say now? Then I get out of my car and I'm like, what do you want to say now? I was like, you pulled out in front of me. You were the aggressive driver and you were the one being a fucking dick. You want to know what he did? He's like, and he starts to back up. And I was like, so you're a giant fucking pussy to boot. All he did was flip me off. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, pussy. And I yelled it like 8 times as loud as I could so that he was shamed by every living soul around. And I don't care if you thought I was the asshole. If I'm yelling that at you and you drive away, even if I'm the asshole, you look like a fucking pussy. And I couldn't abide going home. That it was just this sign. I was like, you know what, man? I am sick. It was a positive for me because I let that guy know, I know you're the asshole. You're the asshole. You're the dickhole. You wouldn't even fucking step out and have a conversation because you knew you were wrong. And you were too fucking scared to even do it. I had no weapons, no knives, no guns, no nothing. Just me. And I'm so sick of people. Like my wife knows my number one all-time gripe in this point in my life is the driver that is wrong telling you that you're the asshole. They pull out in front of you. They merge in and almost hit you. If you beep your horn, you're the fucking guy that's the asshole in this world now. Every time. They're sitting there not moving at a right turn. That's one of my biggest things, man. And I'm talking not just a common, square right turn, but when it is a lane that literally goes like this and has a merge for you to go when you can go anytime, red or not. You can always go. You can always turn. But they sit there and they wait till the light turns green. Folks, I'm sorry, but I cannot abide that kind of ignorance. It is actually not the reason they did that is so traffic does not get stopped up, but it's stupid idiots. Again, I've seen the age range from fucking brand new 16-year-old student driver do it all the way up to the 120-year-old or I'm just going to sit here. There's no excuse for it. You don't have to be fast, but you also don't have to stop traffic. So, where's the positive in that? You can disagree with me. I don't care, but it felt great that I put somebody in their place who was truly wrong and yelling at me for it. I'm so tired of that. Does anybody else deal with this? That I'm not saying I'm right all the time. I'll never say that. But if I honk my horn 95% of the time, I'm doing it because you are doing something wrong. And 100% of the time, dude, 100% of the time, if I honk my horn, I have somebody yelling at me, cursing at me, and telling me how I'm a dick, telling me how it's my fault that why I'm honking my horn because I did something wrong. Okay. What was really funny is when I say that, just last night I was driving home and this guy did a dickhead move. I didn't even honk my horn. I was over it. And when he drove by, all I did was look over and he's like, I'm sorry. He said it because I didn't fucking honk my horn. Honking your horn in this world is immediately put somebody, they are on the defensive. It's never honk your horn. Hey, I'm sorry, man. I did that. You're right, man. They just get so angry. So the positive for me was that at the end of this, I didn't go home. Not that he would make me feel like shit. Feeling like shit is not the word. I didn't go home feeling one-upped again by some dickhead who got all the things out that he wanted to say and didn't hear what I had to say and thought that he was right. I'll say this. If he thought he was so right, then why didn't he get out of the fucking truck? I don't think it's purely fear. The guy literally stood about an inch or two taller than me. So if that's the case, then he truly is a giant pussy, which I did believe that too, by the way. I believe he was a giant pussy. Men and women on the road behind steering wheels are almost as bad as men and women at home behind a keyboard. They'll talk some shit when they're driving 40, 45, 50, 60 miles an hour because you can't touch them, right? Their story always changes when you're fucking standing face to face. I really can't stand internet and traffic bullies. I can't stand bullies at all. But then when you translate that to a driving bully or an internet bully, which is exactly what they are. They're people that they talk a big fucking game until they're face to face with the reality. Then they clam up like little bitches because they do not stand behind their words. And something I've come to realize lately is that words are much more powerful than I ever could imagine. I've talked about this a few times, so I won't go into it, but I no longer believe sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words are powerful. Both ways, though. When you have power, the power can be applied either way, and it's up to the user to apply it. What's the word? Not effectively, responsibly. And what I mean by that is words of inspiration and that kind of thing. They're good. If you lie about something, or on the same notion, if you say one thing and do another, which is nothing more than a lie, those words have a lot of damaging power, right? If you tell people a lot of negativity, those words, ask any woman who has been with an abusive man who was truly mentally abusing but never touched them. Ask them how abused they feel, and I promise you they still feel the abuse. In fact, you still have two forms of abuse: mental and verbal, right? Because when you're saying things that's verbally abusive, what happens is the mental abuse that comes along with that is mostly done by the person being abused, but it still derives from the verbal. You know what I mean? Anywho, yeah. All I can say is I love this world. I try to treat it as best it can, but there's so many people out there, and I am not perfect. Neither are you. And it's almost like a cancer when you get around somebody that's negative. And it happens many times when you're either feeling really positive or trying to get positive again. That's when it seems that negativity attacks, And all I can say is, I knew I wasn't, just on a side note with this guy, I knew I was not going to physically engage him. I just wanted to call his bluff. You were the one that was wrong. I didn't even have a problem with him. I never honked my horn or flipped him off, but he came and barreled behind me, like I said, and then pulled a nasty move in front of me just to be a dick. I'm tired of people doing that. Somebody said today, somebody said these words to me. They said, I'd rather be, what was it? A warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war, right? And I get that. Like, I am nice. I believe that. And I believe in being nice. I believe in spreading positivity. I also believe in standing up for yourself. And at some point, you have to stand tall and have conviction in your words that, hey, you will not push me around just because you feel like you have the right to. That's not being negative, folks. To me, what's actually negative is when that stuff happens and someone pushes you around and pushes you out and all these other things, and you do nothing about it and you try to just ignore them. Because you know what happens when you say you just ignore them? It wears on you. It wears on the psyche that somebody yells and screams things at you and you don't even defend yourself. I promise you, this is proven. Those people start to feel bad. It collectively starts to eat at them that they do not defend themselves, even verbally standing up for themselves. So they feel pushed around. I have already started to feel that way with driving in this world these days, and I'm tired of it. Well, you think I'm crazy about this, but the driving thing has really it's a real bit, like, I feel like I have to do something. I don't know if I'm going to put more cameras on or start, doing videos, but the traffic, it's a huge thing, folks. It is where, look at how much time you spend in the car. Look at how much time and cars, or look at many cars are on the road, and look at how much driving happens. Driving in any city, anywhere, is 24/7. The only other thing that we fucking do more than driving is work, right? When it comes to our lives. So there's probably some that don't. I will say that. I'm not trying to say that that's the case for everybody, because obviously there's some people that don't have a car and they use public transportation. But guess what? They're using public transportation, which is something being driven on the fucking road, right? So you might not be driving, but you're contributing to the traffic that's on the road. Everybody contributes to the traffic on the road, every single person. And you got to get somewhere. It's, you know, we don't live in the time where, and there's some people, I'm not going to deny, I've even had the life where I could pretty much walk everywhere. But for most of us, that's kind of few and far between. Tell you what's funny, Murphy's Law is if you end up having that kind of life, you end up meeting a girl that lives on the other side of town, fucks it all up, or a man for that matter. Not to sound rude to any women. So, anyhow, I'm tired of being pushed around. That's kind of how I feel about it. And today, I felt really good. I went home knowing that I stood up for myself, defended my word. I might have been a little bit of a dickhead. I'm not even going to deny that. I'm not going to deny it. But sometimes they deserve it, you know. There's a part of me that believes, how do you say, there's a part of me that is like Martin Luther King. And I'd say the other part of me is more similar to, I think Malcolm X was the one that believed a little bit more in kind of dealing with, as they put it, dealing with the white man and the only currency they know. And this has nothing to do with race, what happened today. I was going to change that. It's dealing with asshole drivers and the currency, the only currency that they know, right? And sometimes that's how you're going to get a point across, because otherwise they just ignore you and they don't hear you. You have to do something different that changes their routine. I guarantee you that dude did not expect to get in his car, get in his truck, close his door, look ahead and see me staring at him. I promise you. That's classic. And that is not a coincidence. God, like I said, that was a delivery. Thank you for that, Lord. So on that note, I will say this. Have a happy Saturday. Wish us luck. We're doing something new tomorrow. I'm going to be out at the Colorado Springs flea market, trying to do a few things out there to try to help generate some different streams of income, if you will. So I love all of you. Have a blessed and lifted night. I got to run. What time is it? Oh, I got plenty of time. I will have to run to Walmart though. So anyway, love all of you. Have a good night. See you. Let me get over here before I say that. And I stayed on much longer than I was supposed to. I'm going to get in trouble with something. But either way, I love all of you. Have a good evening. Peace.
I switch hit, I'm a strange fuck. Consistent ain't something I could say well. Build my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish a day is swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.